I'm not the one who fell, but I saw it happen, a sin so raw it burned through the quiet of a small town and left me questioning everything. My name's Clara, and this is their story told through my eyes, a tale of desire that unfolded under my nose, too wild to ignore. If you're watching, you're already hooked, drawn to a forbidden hunger that feels like a fever until it's a noose. This isn't about love or redemption, it's about lust, the kind that blinds and begs for more. Stay with me because this one's going to haunt you. It's a tale of orchards, heat, and a betrayal I couldn't unsee. It was a golden September afternoon in Asheville, North Carolina, the air heavy with the scent of apples and earth. I ran a bed and breakfast near an orchard, a quiet life at 45, surrounded by guests and gossip. That summer, Margaret, a 60-year-old widow, was staying for a month, her elegance a stark contrast to our rustic town. She was all silver hair and sharp wit, her linen dresses clinging to a figure that defied her age. Then there was Jake, 19, the best friend of my nephew Tommy, a boy with a reckless grin and eyes too old for his years. I noticed it first at the orchard picnic, a community event where the town gathered to eat and drink under the apple trees. Margaret was there, her dress catching the sunlight, her laugh carrying over the chatter. Jake was helping with the cider press, his flannel shirt rolled up his arms, tanned from summer work. Their eyes met across the crowd, a spark I couldn't miss. I told myself it was nothing. Margaret was a grandmother, Jake a kid. But when she offered him a glass of cider, her fingers brushing his, I saw the air shift heavy with something unspoken. The orchard was alive, the trees heavy with fruit, the sun warm on our skin. Margaret sat near Jake, her voice low, teasing as she asked about his college plans. He leaned closer, his grin bold, his eyes tracing the line of her dress. I watched from the picnic table, my stomach twisting, knowing I should look away. Her wedding ring was gone, she'd lost her husband years ago, but Jake's promise ring, a gift from his high school sweetheart. Lily glinted on his finger, a warning he ignored. I overheard her say, "You're too young to be so serious," her tone light but sharp, like she saw through him. Jake laughed, his hand grazing her arm, a touch too lingering for innocence. My nephew Tommy was busy with the grill, oblivious, but I saw it the way Margaret's smile turned, knowing the way Jake's posture shifted like a moth drawn to a flame. The orchard scent, sweet and heavy, seemed to wrap around them, pulling them closer. Later, as the sun dipped low, casting golden shadows, they wandered off toward the far end of the orchard. I followed, not sure why, my heart pounding. Behind a row of trees, I saw them hidden from the crowd. Margaret's hand rested on Jake's chest, her fingers tracing the edge of his flannel. "Tell me to stop," she whispered, her voice a melody, her eyes daring him to fall. He didn't. His hands found her waist, the linen soft under his fingers, pulling her closer. The apples above swayed the air thick with heat and sin. Their kiss was a spark, fierce and hungry, her lips claiming his with a confidence that belied her age. His hand slid up her back, bold, reckless, the flannel bunching under her grip. I froze, hidden by the trees, my breath caught, unable to look away. The orchard was a haze, the sunlight fading, the world narrowing to their heat, their hunger. I should have stopped them, called out, but the sight of them, her elegance, his youth, held me captive, a witness to their sin. Their kiss was a wildfire burning through the quiet of the orchard. I watched hidden as Margaret's hands roamed Jake's chest, her nails grazing through his flannel, his breath ragged. Her linen dress clung to her, the fabric slipping to reveal a glimpse of lace, a secret that made my pulse race. Jake's hands were bold, sliding down her hips, pulling her against him, the trees shielding them from the world. The apples above dropped softly, their thuds a rhythm to their sin, the air thick with the scent of fruit and desire. I should have turned away, but I couldn't. Margaret's lips moved to his neck, her teeth grazing each bite, drawing a gasp from him. His hands slid under her dress, the linen bunching exposing smooth skin that glowed in the fading light. The guilt was there in the way Jake's promise ring caught the sun, a reminder of Lily. But he didn't stop. Neither did she. Her fingers tangled in his curls, pulling him closer, her body arching into his, a dance of hunger I couldn't unsee. The orchard was their world, the picnic's chatter a distant hum. Jake lifted her against a tree, her legs wrapping around him, the dress riding higher, revealing lace that made my breath catch. Her gasps were sharp, his groans low, the tree creaking under their weight. My heart pounded, a mix of shock and something darker, as their hands grew bolder, her nails leaving marks on his skin, his fingers tracing paths I shouldn't have seen. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, painting them in gold and shadow, turning their sin into something almost beautiful. Jake. She murmured his name, a spell, her voice low and commanding. His eyes were wild, his hands gripping her thighs, the pleasure building between them. The orchard's scent was overwhelming, sweet and heavy, a mirror of their hunger. I wanted to scream to stop them, but my feet were rooted, my eyes locked on their heat. The guilt was theirs, but I felt it too, a weight for witnessing what I shouldn't. When it happened, it was a storm, raw and relentless. Her cries were sharp, muffled by the trees, his hands holding her tight, their bodies moving as one. The pleasure was fierce-edged with the wrongness of it all, her age, his youth, the ring on his finger. The apples fell, the leaves rustled the orchard, a silent witness to their sin. I turned away, finally, my face burning, but the sounds followed me, their gasps, a haunting melody I couldn't shake. Afterward, I saw them return to the picnic separately, as if nothing had happened. Margaret's dress was smoothed, her smile serene, but her eyes held a secret. Jake's flannel was rumpled, his grin too bright, his ring glinting like a lie. I watched, silent, my stomach twisting, knowing I'd seen something that changed everything. The orchard was quiet now, the sun gone, but their sin lingered, a stain I couldn't erase. The days that followed were heavy, the orchard's scent haunting me, their secret, a weight I carried alone. Margaret stayed at the B&B, her elegance unshaken, her laughter filling the breakfast room. Jake came by daily, helping Tommy with chores, his eyes finding Margaret's too often. I watched, my heart pounding, knowing what I'd seen, unable to speak. Lily, Jake's girlfriend, was away at college, oblivious, her texts lighting up his phone, each one a knife in my gut for what I knew. I saw them again at the orchard's edge late one night. The moon was high, casting silver light through the trees. They thought they were alone, but I was there checking the grounds, my flashlight off. Margaret's dress was dark this time, flowing, but it didn't hide the way she pressed against Jake, her hands bold, his flannel open, revealing skin that glowed in the moonlight. Their kiss was hungrier now, desperate, her fingers tearing at his belt, his hands sliding under her dress. I froze, hidden by the trees, my breath shallow, their heat, a fire I couldn't look away from. The orchard was a maze, the leaves whispering their secret. Jake lifted her onto a wooden crate, her legs wrapping around him, her gasps sharp in the quiet night. His hands were everywhere, her dress falling away, revealing lace that made my pulse race. The guilt was theirs, but I felt it too, for watching, for not stopping them. Their bodies moved together a rhythm of sin, the pleasure raw-edged with the wrongness of it all. The moonlight watched cold and unyielding as they crossed a line I couldn't unsee. Lily came home for a weekend, her smile bright, her arms around Jake. I watched them at the B&B, my stomach twisting as he laughed with her, his hand on hers, the promise ring glinting. Margaret was there too, pouring coffee, her eyes flicking to Jake, a secret shared in a glance. I wanted to tell Lily to warn her, but the words choked me. How do you confess someone else's sin? They push too far. I overheard Margaret in the garden, her voice low, urgent. "Leave her," she said, her hand on Jake's arm, her eyes blazing. Jake hesitated, his face torn, his ring, a weight he couldn't ignore. Leave Lily burn his life for a woman 3 times his age. The idea was madness, but I saw the hunger in his eyes, the pull of Margaret's charm. I turned away, my heart pounding, knowing it couldn't end well. I thought it was over, but the orchard held their secret like a trap. One night I found them again in the barn, the air thick with hay and desire. Margaret's dress was gone, her lace glowing in the lantern light. Jake's flannel discarded, his hands gripping her hips. Their cries were sharp, the barn creaking, the pleasure raw and reckless. I watched, hidden, my face burning, their sin a fire I couldn't escape. Lily found out. She came to the B&B, her eyes red, holding a letter she'd found in Jake's bag. Margaret's handwriting, her initials, a promise of another night. "Who is she?" Lily asked me, her voice breaking, her hands shaking. I couldn't lie, but I couldn't tell the whole truth either. "Ask Jake," I said, my voice hollow, my heart heavy with their sin. She confronted him, her screams echoing through the orchard, Margaret watching from the porch, her face unreadable. Jake tried to explain, his words stumbling, but Lily left her car tearing down the gravel road. Margaret stayed, her elegance unshaken, but her eyes were cold, now distant. Jake left town, his promise ring gone, his face haunted. I saw Margaret pack her bags, her smile polite, but the scarf she left behind, embroidered with her initials, carried her scent, a ghost I couldn't banish. This is their story, seen through my eyes, a warning to anyone who thinks they can play with fire and not get burned. If you've watched this far, you know that hunger, that ache for what you shouldn't want. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, call them fool sinners or just human. Like the video or don't, but share it with someone who's seen temptation spark. Check out my other stories, they're just as raw, just as real. Ever witnessed a forbidden flame? Spill your secrets below. I'm listening, and I've been there.